Well, this video is about trying to find extra storage space for all my clamps. I bought some extras here. Now here's an image of a rack I built for my F-clamps on the side of my shop cart, and then all around the place I've got all these clamps hung up in every nook and cranny wherever I can find space. So this is how I've been storing stuff, every nook and cranny, and trying to cram in some more space now for some more clamps. Okay, so what I'm doing is looking to hang some more of my F clamps up somewhere in the shop, wherever I can find space at, and found some space underneath my stairwell here. This is a stairway that comes down from upstairs, comes down to my basement and my garage, and it's got some double stringers on there for the stairway because it's a 36-inch wide stairway, so it's got some good strength. Anyways, what I've been doing is hanging my clamps here on the handle of this miter saw that I've got here that I roll out on occasion to use it and so forth. But the problem is, every time I want to use it, I got to remove these clamps and set them aside somewhere, so it's getting to be kind of a pain. Anyways, what I thought I would do is figure out a way to hang these up here in such a manner that I've got enough height where I can pull them up, pull them out, and clear my roll of paper up here, which is I use for packing for a lot of things that I ship and sell. And also I want to have enough clearance with the length of this F-clamp that it'll sit there at this level, just below this board. I'm going to build a board across there that'll fit in here and hold these, much like on my shop cart. And what I want to be able to do is have enough clearance here so I can still pull my miter saw in and out without catching on these clamps. So I think I've come up with a good plan here, and it looks like it's going to clear everything, so this should work pretty good for me. Alright, so I've cut up some boards here to build my clamp rack with. These are some scrap pieces I've got around the shop. One piece is a piece of 1/4 inch or piece of 3/4 inch plywood, and this other one's about a 3/4 inch thick better pine piece of board. And I cut, this one's about 3 inches wide, this one's I cut to 4 inches wide to be similar to my other rack, because this one's going to be on the outside, and that's what will provide some of the support here for the clamp as it goes on there. So then what I cut up was 3 of these blocks are going to go on here. One in the middle, and 2 on the ends. And I cut those to, what did I cut them to? 1 1/8 inches wide here and 4 inches long. So what I'm going to do is, since this is end grain I'm working with here, I'm going to glue these rather than to nail them at all or to try and drive any screws into these, because I'll just wind up splitting the wood. So I'll just be generous with some glue, and that'll hold pretty good. Even though it is end grain, might put some tiny brad nails or something in there. Anyways, so I'll do those up, and that'll go together as this to form my rack, and then the clamps will hang into this by going into here, and there's enough space there that these handles can fit. At least my handles will fit. If your handles are a bit bigger than these, then you may need to increase your space there so that your handles can go in and out easily without binding or anything. You want to probably give yourself at least an extra 1/4 inch besides the diameter of your handles. So, and also what I'm going to do is put some, I marked this in because I've got these stair stringers there, which gives me about 3 inches on each side to attach to. But you know, they're both 1.5 by 1.5, so together they got me 3 inches. So I don't want to be driving screws into the middle between where those two 2x8s or whatever they are meet at, because that'll have less strength then. So I'm locating where I'm going to put the holes to attach these to the stringers in, so they're about center on one of those stringers. and at both ends like that. And then the centerpiece there, of course, is going to go about center, because that's just going to provide middle support for this. And what I'll do is, on top of this, so I can reach these screws once I get it up there, is I'm going to drill some holes in this that will be big enough for me to get a driver through there, so I can drive the screws in the other side of the board there to attach it to the stringers. So I'll get this glued up together, and I'll probably pre-drill these holes for these holes I want to do here before I glue all this together. So I'll show you how I do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut up these boards and get them set up here so that I can hang these F-clamps on here onto this, under my steer wheel there. So what I'll do is I take these blocks out here that are the spacers, and what I'm going to do is line this up so it's even with the back edge here and even on the ends here. And then I measured in 3 inches on each side. Made a mark there on both sides. And then I measured in 3/4 of an inch from these edges here on each edge to mark a center where I'm going to drill these holes at for putting these and hanging this up for the screws. So what I'll do is, put these boards here together like this. I'm going to drill these holes with like a pilot's drill bit, so to speak, and get my holes marked out and laid out. And then I marked one end of these boards here so that I can remember which ends match up where, because if I get my holes off just slightly or something like that, they may not match up if I get this board reversed around somehow. So I want to try and make sure I get it back together the same way. So I'm going to drill some holes here to mark where I'm going to put these screws in. Make sure I get all the way through there. Yeah, I think it's time for a new battery in my drill. Change out my battery here real quick. Be right back. Alright, back at it here. I'm going to drill the, mark the holes for this other end now. So I've got those all marked all the way through. Now what I'm going to do is, this board here is going to be the front side of this rack. So what I'm going to do is, these are big enough so these number 8 screws will pass all the way through here, and that's what I'll attach to the wall with. And these are like 1.5 inch screw. It's 3/4 thick material, so use 1.5 inch to fasten it up there underneath the stairway. And on this board, what I'm going to do is to make sure I get this lined up right, this way. I'm going to drill these holes a bit larger so that I can fit my screwdriver bit and the screw head through there, and then drive them in through this other side here when it's mounted up there. So I'm going to enlarge this hole out to, I don't know, probably about a 3/8, I think. Doesn't have to be real big. So I'll get the drill bit for that. Alright, got my 3/8 bit here. Gonna enlarge in these holes to be big enough for putting those screws through. And instead of using a brad point bit, I'm using a standard 135-degree angle bit on this, because brad point bits won't center on the hole here. They'll just kind of wander around a bit. So use this because it's going to stay on center better. Hey, I'll clean this up a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is make sure that these line up correctly. All my holes. Let's see, it's got to go this way. Yeah, there we go. Got a good alignment with that, so that's good. Didn't mess it up. I'll just clean this up. Then what I do is I'm going to put these blocks in. I'm going to glue and clamp them for now and let them set up and dry. Okay, so I kind of marked out where I'm going to place these blocks out and marked them with pencil lines so I know where to put them. Then what I do is put some glue on, rub the glue, and set these on there. Be a little bit generous with the glue since these are gluing up some end grains. Give it some good stick to it. Okay, set these blocks on here, get them aligned. I like to give these maybe about 15-20 seconds to kind of get a little bit of a grip. Right now they're kind of slippery and sliding around a bit. Give a little bit of time to get some grip on there. Then what I'm going to do is put this board on top of that. And I'm going to set some bricks on top of these to give it some weight to hold it down. Spread the glue on generously. I'll get some squeeze out, which is good. Make sure I get good coverage. Okay. I'll set this one on. I compared my things to make sure I'm getting this correctly oriented. Then to get this lined up. All looking good. Now, add some bricks for weight. I'll let that set up for about 15-20 minutes, and then I'll turn this up and put some F-clamps on them till the glue has about an hour to dry, and then that'll hold pretty good. So I'll be back in a little bit. All right, so took the bricks off, put them aside, and started putting the clamps on this to put more pressure on these while the glue sets up more. Now I'll give these about an hour to set up. I can take them apart and start working on mounting this underneath my stairway. So I've got all the clamps off this. This is holding up really well now, so it'll do a great job. And what I did is I started the screws into these inside holes here a little bit, and so I can just go in with this and get my drill to start and drive them on in. So I'll position these up there in the bottoms of the stair stringers. Get one started at one end, and then I'll use my level, get a level at the other end, then tighten down, screw at the other end here, and then get the other two screws driven in also. Now what I did is I checked my position there to make sure I had good clearance with everything, and that works really well. So I'll get this mounted up underneath the stairway. Okay, what I'm going to do is get this positioned up here, like that. And let's check my level, see how level it is. It's off a little bit, so what's going to have to come down is the right side a little bit. So I'm going to start my first screw over on the left side, and then I can make my adjustments on the right side. So grab my driver, it'll stay there. Okay, so I had a little bit of a challenge trying to get this started over here. Wasn't quite lining up right on the stringer because I had something in the way here, so I had to remove that. That won't be a problem. Now my next step is to get this leveled up. Right there. Then I'll drive in the screw on the other end. Okay. Do some cut ins and outs here as I do this. That's fairly level, pretty close. I'll just drive the other two screws in. That's going to hold it in place. This board here is off kilter, not level. That's why it looks different. All right, good and strong. Now, put my clamps on it. I got some more. And it won't interfere with getting my miter saw in and out. Come out easily without any interruption. So, as a matter of fact, I can probably even hang some longer clamps on there if I ever decide to get some more. Okay, well, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it and you got some inspiration out of it. Maybe to find some hidden storage space in your shop to hang up some extra clamps. Always fighting to find a good spot to put things and working in a small shop. So if you did, please give me a like, give me a thumbs up, and share it with your family, friends, and fellow craftspersons. Also, please give me your comments. Love to hear what you want to see and what you think. Any suggestions is great. And be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you won't miss anything. Thank you.